Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the Online Series 12 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're trying out a really cool team featuring Physical Life Orb Yveltal as well as Choice Scarf Kyogre. This team was built by 2012 Senior Division World Champion Toler Webb. Toler also won the 2015 US National Championships in the Masters Division and is really just truly a phenomenal player. Toler and I competed against each other quite a while back in the day, but we actually played in round 6 of the World Championships in 2013 when we were both 4-1, and the winner would advance to the top 8, and Toler also defeated me and eliminated me from the top 4 of the US National Championships in 2015. So he's always a player that I've had immense respect for. I think honestly really underrated in the history of the game as well, so it's really cool to see him come out and yeah, just kind of put out a new team out there. So I linked Toler's Twitter down in the description below. Please go check him out. He's just such an intelligent guy, both inside and outside of the game. And so as always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps linked in the description below. And thanks so much as always for watching. If you enjoy, please share your support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. So this team is centered around Life Orb Physical Yveltal and Choice Scarf Kyogre. This pairing is not exactly super common, although it actually did do super well at the Japanese National Championships, but that team was really wild where it had, I believe it was like Choice Scarf Yveltal with Tailwind and Choice Specs Kyogre. The idea here is that Yveltal is just an absolute monster in the format, right? And Physical Yveltal is something that catches opponents off guard as well, because players will often try to, use like Light Screen or get special defense boosts in order to deal with Yveltal. But with the physical variant here, you can just pick up big surprise one-hit knockouts, because a lot of players' plans in dealing with Yveltal is just like, decreasing its special attack so that it can't just pick up a big one-hit KO immediately. The other thing is that, Physical Yveltal, you normally don't want to go up against Intimidate, but the Intimidate users in Incineroar and Landorus T, they don't really love coming out against the team that has Kyogre, and so often players will be a little bit incentivized to actually not bring Incineroar into the matchup. So you see the rental on screen, but as I mentioned, now I'm going to try to capture the pace a little bit more. So the general idea is that you use Scarf Kyogre to just blow some holes through your opponent's team, especially in the early game, and then Yveltal and Kartana can often come out in the late game and just really clean up super easily, right? So Scarf Kyogre can be an incredibly effective lead, especially if they don't have Groudon. Now against Groudon teams, you're going to be a little bit more, careful about just leading Kyogre, because then you do face, them winning the Weather War, and then them also having things like some, Venusaur, for example, or Regieleki, which can pose some issues, right? And so Scarf Kyogre, incredibly effective lead. Raichu plus Kyogre, as described by Toler, is one of the default leads with this team, where you can just pressure with Fake Out Water Spout or Helping Hand Water Spout. Helping Hand Water Spout in the rain is just really one of the strongest attacks you can have in this game, and you can even get a one-hit KO onto Dynamax Pokemon that don't have a lot of bulk, which is just crazy to think about, right? And Raichu obviously synergizes really well with Kyogre because you've got the Lightning Rod, and so you can absorb Electric-type hits, and you don't have to worry as much about Dynamax Regieleki just going for Max Lightning onto Kyogre. If you don't have Raichu on this team, Dynamax Elecki actually looks so much scarier, right? And so the idea is, you've got Scarf Kyogre. This just outspeeds almost everything in the format other than, obviously max speed Elecki, so do be careful about that. You've got the Physical Life Orb Yveltal, as I mentioned. Dual Wing Beat's valuable for a couple of reasons. You can KO Focus Sash Pokemon that are weak to it, right? So Whimsicott and Venusaur are going to be the main two, as well as Amoonguss. Being able to one-shot all of those, or technically two-shot, I think is really valuable. Foul Play and Sucker Punch is also just a powerful combo, where Foul Play with Dark Aura and Life Orb is just incredible into Zacian. Sucker Punch really valuable into Calyrex Shadow Rider. And it means that you also have a pretty solid non-max option with Yveltal, because all of these moves are just really good on it, inside or outside of Dynamax. You've also got Assault Vest Kartana here. Kartana's a Pokemon I feel like has been good really for a while now. It's especially good with Kyogre due to the snowball potential from it. So this is just the standard 4-attack moveset. Sometimes you see White Herb or Life Orb over Assault Vest or Focus Sash, right? But we already have the Life Orb and Focus Sash committed here. So Assault Vest really just the most consistent item. To round out the team, you've got classic Careful Berry, Incineroar with Shuka Berry, and then Light Clay dual screens Grimmsnarl. The one thing about Grimm here is that it actually has Taunt rather than a speed control move like Thunder Wave or Scary Face, and so Taunt's really valuable in, really surprise your opponent, and it can really shut a lot of Pokemon down in this format. Even just denying something the ability to protect is so important with this team, because Yveltal and Kyogre can just pick up knockouts so quickly, and one of the ways you normally get around that is by protecting your Pokemon. But with Taunt here, you don't really care about those protects whatsoever. And so tons of ways that you can play with this team. As I mentioned, I think Toler described the Raichu and the Kyogre is a really common lead, and then you have Yveltal plus one of Incineroar Kartana to really close out games. You could very easily lead things like Grimm, Kyogre, Kyogre, Grim Yveltal, Grim Kartana. I think like leads you want to be maybe a little bit careful of leading are things like Raichu Incin. Like that can feel kind of passive, right? So it's not to say that you can't bring it at all. But if you're doing that, then you really need to accomplish something with the Intimidate or with, you know, Raichu maybe getting a paralysis off with Nuzzle or Electro Web. But I think Raichu Kyogre, Raichu Yveltal, super potent as well. And even Yveltal Kyogre against the right matchups, because like you can just Water Spout into Max Airstream and just snowball the game out of control after just a really, really strong turn 1. So tons of options here. I've been talking for long enough, so let's dive into today's episode. All right, this is a really interesting, it feels like kind of early Sword and Shield with Urshifu, Togekiss, Gastrodon, Hatterene, and then there's Zacian and Calyrex Shadow Rider, which I think is fascinating. Very cool. So with Gastrodon, obviously I have to be a lot more careful with Kyogre. What's interesting thing, one of the interesting things here is like where's the Focus Sash, because both Urshifu and Calyrex like running it. Given that there's a Gastrodon, obviously Kartana is going to be pretty valuable. This is one of the matchups where like all of our Pokemon are pretty decent. I'm kind of down for a Raichu Kyogre lead. Yveltal plus Kartana. I guess the interesting thing is, do I really drop Incineroar here because it's really good into both Calyrex and Zacian? I guess I don't need to lead Raichu, right? Scarf Kyogre. Actually, what if we just went Kyogre Kartana? Because it's like the one thing that really stops Kyogre here is just the Gastrodon with Yveltal and Incin in the back. I kind of like that a little bit more. I feel like the tricky thing for me as I like get acclimated with this team is I always want to bring the Grimmsnarl because likely dual screens Grimm is just so nice in enabling your team. But the Kyogre is obviously not going to take advantage of the screens that much. It's mainly in like protecting the Yveltal. I don't think Grimm is worth a slot there. They're going to go with Togekiss and Zacian. Okay. So turn 1 here, what do I want to go for? Like Water Spout's pretty free with Kyogre. Part of the question here is, do I want to read into a Gastrodon switch in potentially, right? Like Togekiss and a Gastrodon. I think the answer to that is actually going to be no here. I'm down to just Water Spout, Dynamax, and I think I want to Airstream here into Togekiss. Yeah, I think that works out pretty well. Oh, they stay in with both. Okay, that's a very pleasant surprise. This could be, like, if it were Togekiss Dynamax, that would be really interesting. But basically, I'm decently content with this because just getting a single Water Spout and a Speed Boost off here, even if I'm not knocking out either Pokemon, is a really strong start for me, in my opinion. So let's see. Ooh, Helping Hand. Okay. And if I led Raichu Kyogre, I guess they probably would have protected, though, in the front of this danger, right? Yeah, we almost just one-shot Zacian there. And they play rough. That's a totally fine trade, because it means I get a KO onto Togekiss with Airstream, which also gives me an attack boost and a free switch into Yveltal. So even though we're trading Pokemon on turn 1, it is so much more favorable for me, in my opinion. So, yeah, that is a great turn for us. One thing that's really important in this matchup is that both Zacian and Calyrex Shadow Rider have the speed advantage relative to me. So I need to look for a way to just, you know, actually outpace them. Okay, so now it's a pretty free switch into Incin or Yveltal. If I go into Incin, I have a free Fake Out. They could bring in Gastrodon. I think I'm honestly okay going into Yveltal here because I don't need the Fake Out right now, nor do I need the Intimidate. Because I have Sucker Punch to just KO Zacian or just a max move onto it. And they bring in Gastrodon, perfect. Yeah, this puts them in a really tough spot already, I think. And this is what this team is designed to do, right? Just like overwhelm your opponent with offense as quickly as possible. So I've got Sucker Punch here. I'm going to just go for it onto Zacian and then just Overgrowth into Gastrodon right now. Like, that turn 1 was just so favorable for us that it puts them in a very tricky spot. And because we actually don't have any bulk on Kyogre, like, if they had actually just switched Gastrodon, well, even if they switched Gastrodon in, they would have still been in a tough spot. Like, this is the thing about Choice Scarf Kyogre, right? A single Water Spell can put you in such a favorable position, especially when you combine it with Kartana, because often, like, the Scarf Water Spout alone isn't enough to pick up a big one-hit knockout, but it's enough where then Yveltal or Kartana can maybe finish things off with the max move. And Kartana finishing a Pokemon off with Max Airstream is so valuable because it gets a Beast Boost and a Speed Boost, right? So those just add up so quickly. Kartana is a Pokemon in this format that has like immense snowball potential. So they go for Max Guard, that's totally fine. Sucker Punch here with Life Orb should get the knockout onto the Zacian. That's why we're running the Physical Yveltal here. Beautiful. And now you've committed a Dynamax to a Gastrodon that's incredibly weak to Kartana. And I have a speed boost relative to your Calyrex in the back, right? Even if you were Choice Scarf Calyrex here in this endgame, it's still not enough, I think. So this is one of the reasons why I think Physical Yveltal is really interesting. Oh, it's actually Hatterene. Okay. That's pretty cool. The one way we lose this game then is if they get a double Protect with Gastrodon instead of Trick Room with Hatterene. So in this position, I'm willing to just Foul Play into Hatterene and go for Steel Spike onto it. Well, we don't need a defense boost here. But I don't really need Grassy Terrain either. I guess Babiri Hatterene was one thing to consider. They don't go for the double, but that's fine. It could be Sash Hatterene here as well, but it's not. Cool. Yeah, I think like our Pokemon just match up really well against our opponents in this matchup, but you can see this is what the team is designed to do, right? If you can just get a single Water Spout off, like turn 1 was just so favorable for us, right? And that's why I led the Kartana, because I figured maybe they lead Gastrodon to kind of dissuade the Kyogre, but then Kartana would just easily deal with Gastrodon. So now that we have Assault Vest on Kartana, there's really nothing to worry about here, as they're just going to Geyser into Yveltal. Yeah. I think the reality here is that their team is actually pretty AB Kartana weak, right? Like, their best way of dealing with it is just Zacian Sacred Sword. I don't think Helping Hand Sacred Sword would have one-shot us there, but that could have been potentially pretty scary. But, yeah, they just don't have too many reliable Kartana answers. Urshifu maybe would have been better off here. I think one other approach they could have gone with in this game, by the way, is Trick Room. So they could have gone maybe Togekiss Hatterene lead. It's just so awkward, though, right? Because it's like, you have slow Pokemon in Togekiss, Gastrodon, Hatterene, but then your restricteds are Calyrex and Zacian, so the synergy like kind of counteracts there. So even if they had gone Trick Room, I think it would have given them a better shot because the team we're using here is really fast-paced on offensive. So if Trick Room goes up, at least like you can Dynamax Hatterene, and that would actually cause me a fair amount of issues, especially if it has a fire type attack, right? So if they actually led, for example, Hatterene plus the Togekiss, I guess I still have such a strong turn 1 where I just Water Spout, and I'd actually probably not Dynamax Kartana, I'd Water Spout, and then just like, Sunsteel Strike. Go for the Smart Strike into the Hatterene slot, right? And then if Togekiss protects, well then we KO Hatterene. If Togekiss goes for Follow Me, we get a knockout onto a Hatterene, takes like 90%. Gastrodon maybe comes in, then we basically have to play from there. So I think Trick Room maybe would have given them a better shot, especially given that they already brought Togekiss, Gastrodon, and Hatterene, and they were willing to drop Calyrex Shadow Rider anyway. But yeah, this matchup was, I think, very heavily skewed towards us, but fun start for us, so let's keep things going. Next match here, and it's Groudon Yveltal with Whimsicott, Venusaur, Charizard, and Incineroar. Okay. My immediate impression is I think Yveltal is going to be really solid here. I think we want screens up with Grim. I don't think I bring Kartana here because it's really weak into Charizard, Venu. Not that good into Yveltal or Groudon or Incin. Like, it's just not a matchup for Kartana. So we can eliminate that from the decision-making process. Raichu here is interesting. I don't really have electric type attacks though, so I think it's probably the bottom 4. Something like a Grimmsnarl lead with Yveltal maybe is intriguing. Grim Yveltal, because I get like normally this team is designed around sweeping with Yveltal in the late game, but I think here Physical Yveltal just really packs a punch. I'm kind of worried about my damage output into their Yveltal, so we'll see. I don't know. Raichu is like, it's just UMAX Wildfire bait in this one. I actually think leading Kyogre is also interesting, but I think there's a world in which they just lead Venusaur plus something that's not Groudon, and then they can just switch into Groudon, Vine Lash Kyogre, and I really dislike the possibility of that. So I don't love this matchup. I don't think I have a very clear direction as of right now, but we'll see what we can do. So They're going to go with Whimsicott and Yveltal. Okay. Now, the first thing I'm curious about is just the Yveltal set on their end. The second thing is, do you Tailwind here? You could get away with not Tailwinding. I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, I don't know, they try to Snarl me on turn 1 and then Tailwind. You're just so vulnerable to Spirit Break then, though. So, like, if I were them, I'd actually probably Moonblast and Max Airstream Grimmsnarl immediately. I'm kind of interested in going for Light Screen here into Dual Wing Beat on Whimsicott. I think the better play, though, is to Dynamax, Airstream, and actually target Yveltal. Because if you look at my team, I actually don't have really reliable Yveltal answers as of right now. So, because we're using physical Yveltal here, I don't really have to care about Snarl, right? And, yeah, knocking on Whimsicott's tempting, but let's say they just Tailwind, then they just get a free switch in immediately, right? And I still haven't dealt with their Yveltal. If I don't Dynamax Yveltal on turn 1 here, I'm at risk of my Yveltal taking a ton of damage and from their Dynamax Yveltal, potentially. Now, maybe they don't Dynamax here, maybe they just Snarl. Yep, looks like that's the case, but I think this is totally fine, right? Because we're using physical Yveltal. Cool. This will also likely mean I get both screens up, which is a really big deal here. And it is just Snarl. Beautiful. So the thing is, they did go for Tailwind and Snarl, so the dual Wing Beat play I was talking about would have actually worked out okay, but like, having a physical Life Orb Airstream here into their Yveltal is just so powerful right now, honestly. And that's why we get a one-hit knockout there. That was a crit. That crit most likely mattered, since if I had to guess, they're Assault Vest and bulky, but it would have done so much damage that the next turn another Airstream I think certainly would have KO'd, even with Oblivion Wing recovery. That being said, obviously it's a huge advantage for us to start, so definitely a lucky way to kick off this game. But that's why I was thinking about the dual Wing Beat play, because I was expecting them to Tailwind Snarl, but I was like, there's so much that could go wrong for me there that I just really don't want to risk it. So Charizard comes out, which is fine. I'm okay going for... It's interesting because I don't necessarily need to click Reflect right now. I could actually Spirit Break. Unfortunately, I don't have speed control here. Their last one's going to be Groudon, almost certainly. So, like, Reflect guarantees that we take attacks from Groudon a little bit better. Right now, they could pivot Whimsicott out into Groudon. And then just Wildfire Yveltal. That's probably the fear right now, no? Okay, I'm actually down to... I went for Spirit Break Max Darkness. That seems really odd, but I could see them switching Whimsicott out, and they do go for that. If they target the Yveltal here this turn, this is a super strong play for me, but if they target Grimmsnarl... Actually, if they target Grimm, it's not even bad, right? Because I just get Kyogre in for free, so... Yeah, I'm actually pretty content with this play. The other play I was thinking about was actually switching out Grimm into Kyogre, because Whimsicott would switch out first because it's faster, then Grimm switches out into Kyogre, so I'd actually win the weather advantage. That entry into Airstream was a winning play here, because then I get a speed boost onto both. And then Kyogre would have the speed boost and Scarf. Okay, this turn works out though, cool. Not bad, not bad. We get Spirit Break here. Cool. And you take Solar Power. Nice. And now, more importantly, you're at -1. The question is, do I actually want to pivot out into Kyogre right now? Because it's still vulnerable to taking so much damage this turn. Now I've gotten you down to -1. 2 turns of Tailwind. I guess the other interesting debate here is, does Charizard Max Guard this turn? They have Tailwind up. It's just because Kyogre is such incredible late game offense against my opponent's duel right now. I honestly think I'm willing to Reflect here and just Max Darkness into Charizard, because Life Orb physical Max Darkness here is just so much pure power. So I'm hoping with the screens here, even if you double up onto Yveltal, we'll be fine. Plus, they might want to fish for a Kyogre switch in right now. I guess Wildfire would have just done such little damage, though. Well, okay, yeah, that still doesn't really do too much. Cool. And your Life Orb. Ooh, bulk up Groudon. Okay, that's a set that's popped up more recently. We featured it obviously on Zhejiang's team pretty recently as well. But that should put us in a very favorable position now, I would think. Yeah, this physical Yveltal is just an absolute menace. And now I get a special defense drop on Groudon. And I have Taunt with the Grimmsnarl, so I can taunt either Groudon or Whimsicott, which is very, very valuable. Because then Kyogre just comes out, clicks Water Spout, game's just over. So, very happy about how this game has played out thus far. The Max Guard Spirit Break play was a little bit scary, but I felt like I was in a really good spot to do that, and it worked out perfectly for us. It's not every day you see Life Orb Charizard in Sun do so little with the Wildfire into non-Assault S Yveltal. So the cool thing right now is I have Taunt with the Grimm, and Yveltal has this speed boost, right? So they have one more turn of Tailwind. So what I can do is Taunt into Whimsicott and Protect with the Yveltal. Then Whimsicott can't set up a subsequent Tailwind, and Groudon protects. Beautiful. Yeah, you can't set up a second Tailwind with Whimsicott. Then the next turn I can just dual Wing Beat to KO you. I guess the only scary thing is if I miss dual Wing Beat, but we're in such a good spot right now. I think with Kyogre in the back, there's no way we lose this game, even if everything goes wrong. But for things to go wrong, first of all, they need to be Mentorb, and they're not. Beautiful. Cool. Now what we can do is pivot out the Grimmsnarl out into Incineroar, get an Intimidate onto the Groudon. It could be White Herb, I suppose, but that's fine. I think this game has really demonstrated the value of physical Yveltal, by the way, because if we were special, I would have, even with the crit, I don't think I would have KO'd the AV Yveltal on their end on turn 1. But the crit helped us a lot because, assuming they have enough bulk to survive that attack, the Life Orb Max Air Stream, it helps us a lot because it basically gives me an extra turn of Dynamax that my opponent is going to struggle to play around. So this is the other really cool thing about dual Wing Beat, right? You can get one-hit KOs, or I guess technically it's 2 hits from one attack though, and that's really valuable into something like Whimsicott with Focus Sash. They just go for another bulk up. That's fine. This game was all about positioning Kyogre in the end game. That's why I didn't want to switch it out earlier, right? Because Kyogre was just going to always destroy Groudon plus Charizard once Tailwind was over. So, Yveltal faints, but now it's a free switch into Kyogre, and you have no way around Scarf Water Spout. So yeah, guaranteed game at this point. We can always just pivot Incineroar out into Grimmsnarl, because they'll likely go for a Protect here. I guess, actually, the one thing to consider is... have we seen Groudon's item? Pasho Berry. Even if you're a Pasho at -1, I don't think you ever survive, actually, truthfully. So, go into Grimm, click Water Spout, then we taunt Groudon, Water Spout again. But because we're Scarf here, there's no out. Their hope is, right now they don't know the item on Kyogre, so just hope that your Groudon's faster, right? Yeah, so you go for Protect here. That's fine. I could switch Grimm into Incin. I don't think either really matters, to be honest. Yeah, I take Wildfire damage, but I'm never risking missing Water Spout here, and they're at -1 special defense. Once again, that's one of the inherent synergies you have, right? Yeah, you're at +1. I'm honestly okay going for... No, I actually think it's correct to switch into Incin here and just Spout. But there's no way Groudon surviving at -1 special defense, a single target Water Spout in rain. But I'm pivoting Incin back in because I know Precipice Blades won't KO me anyway. And Cycling Intimidates right now is just so valuable. But Water Spout should always get the KO, so I don't think what we did with Incin really mattered there. Yeah. I think this game was all about the physical Yveltal, honestly. Now, you don't necessarily need to always use Yveltal in the late game, right? My recording got cut off as I was trying to finish my statement about physical Yveltal, but basically what I meant to say is that, yes, the Yveltal on this team is often designed for the late game, but I think in the right matchup, it can be an absolute monster in the early game, and the main reasoning for that is because, in this matchup, I don't want to lead Kyogre given that they have Venusaur, right? Because Venusaur can just Vine Lash me, especially if they don't lead Groudon, they could just win the Weather War on turn 1 of the game by switching out their partner into Groudon. So it kind of eliminates me feeling comfortable leading Kyogre, and then it's what else do I have? Raichu, Incin, Grimmsnarl, none of those really put on any offensive pressure. So Yveltal felt like my only option, really, but it worked out so fantastically there. Obviously got a little bit lucky with the crit onto the Yveltal, but yeah, I'm really pleased about how that game played out. So let's look for a third. Third game here, rank 48, and it is Lunala Groudon with Umbreon. Now, Lunala Groudon recently won the Vancouver Regional Championships. Gavin Michaels piloted it to a first place finish. And I think Gavin and a bunch of his team building partners actually brought this variant with Umbreon to the North American Internationals. So I think Yveltal Kyogre theoretically should have a really favorable matchup here, but I don't have too much matchup experience. So in this matchup, I just want to make sure I don't make any major blunders. I think them having Umbreon over Incineroar actually causes me a lot more trouble. But I think Physical Yveltal here should be an absolute beast. I think I'm going to go with the same mode, like Grim Yveltal Kyogre Incin. Like, we just faced two Sun teams back-to-back. This one obviously has Lunala rather than the Yveltal from the previous one. I think you could actually make a slight argument for Cortana over Kyogre because it gives me a better matchup into Umbreon. Dealing with Umbreon is actually going to be the main focal point here, in my opinion, because it has enough defense to stall out my firepower early on. So, this is pretty scary. I think, like, it can take multiple attacks. I actually wonder if Yveltal Kyogre was ever the right lead here, just to, like, put on so much pressure offense-wise. Grim and Groudon. Yeah, Yveltal, well, yeah, I don't know if Yveltal Kyogre would have been amazing here, but I also don't think it would have been terrible. I think turn 1, I want to KO the Grimmsnarl as quickly as possible. And they probably expect this to be special Yveltal, so they're going to Light Screen turn 1. Meaning I can max Airstream the Grimmsnarl and Spirit Break it for a KO immediately. Groudon here can bulk up, it can Swords Dance. Bulk up I guess is a little bit scary, but the thing is, once again, like, as soon as Groudon's out on the field, it has a really awkward matchup against Scarf Kyogre. I really want to eliminate Grim here because I don't want it to get both screens up. If we see Grim and Groudon, like, there's a decent chance Lunala just doesn't come out in this matchup because Lunala is really, really poor into Yveltal teams in general. It's still worth considering if I were my opponent's shoes. I'd actually be really happy if they brought it, I guess. Yeah, but what's interesting is, like, what's in the back, because I expect Umbreon as one of the two. But I'm not sure what the other will be. Grim actually goes for Reflect, okay. I guess I'm okay with that because, like, yes, like, I am Physical Yveltal, but I think this double up should still get the KO, so the Reflect doesn't help this turn, and what it means is now I can max Darkness to really put on the pressure against Groudon, because then Kyogre just comes out and clicks Water Spout. Yeah, there's Bulk Up, okay. That's fine. Bulk Up is annoying for the defense boosts, but we have Kyogre in the back just waiting to come in and click Water Spout, and they didn't get Light Screen up. Oh, Grim survives that? Okay, that's not ideal. Can't say I'm too pleased about that. Down to Taunt Groudon now. This turn is actually really interesting. I can't. Well, first of all, great play on my opponent to actually go for Reflect rather than Light Screen. I wonder if they know about this team, because I think a lot of players would be incentivized to normally click Light Screen on turn 1. But if you know your Physical Yveltal, obviously, there's a lot more confidence to make a play like that. So that was really well done. Yeah, I'm down to Taunt Groudon. Darkness into Grim here. Get a special defense drop. I'm already faster. They're going to max. Okay. I don't love seeing that because it means I also missed out on the opportunity to click Reflect this turn. So now my question is, does +1 Quake KO me? I taunted because I really didn't want Groudon to get another bulk up, but so far my opponents outplayed me both turn 1 and turn 2. So, all done. Like, if I knew my opponent was going to make the play they did on turn 1, I could have gone just Airstream and Taunt immediately. I just really didn't think Grim would actually survive that double up. Like, that's a testament to how bulky Grimmsnarl can be, right? Like, that was a Life Orb max move and a super effective hit. You know, my Grim fainting here is honestly fine, because it's a free switch into Kyogre. I get a special defense drop on your Groudon, and then I can just max Darkness Water Spout again. I guess they'll Quake to get a special defense. Oh, it could be a Rockfall here, but I think it's probably Quake. Because they're probably covering for a Kyogre switch in here. But no, it's actually Rockfall. I'll gladly take that. Cool. Yeah, that's not too bad. Especially with Groudon being taunted right now. The scary thing still is the Umbreon in the back, because I was expecting it to come early in the game. I don't know if bringing Incineroar was really that smart of a choice for me ultimately, but it'll help a little bit against Groudon, I suppose. They did bring Lunala. Interesting. Okay. I'm definitely going to Darkness Lunala here. My fear, like, with Light Screen here, they probably survive, and I really don't want them setting up Trick Room, but I also want to set up Reflect. Like, I'm down to Spirit Break Max Darkness here. Okay, they don't go for a Protect, so that's good. Okay, that does just get the one-hit KO. Like, I figured, I don't know, but if you have, like, Max Defense Lunala, I get a little bit scared there. I expect Umbreon as the last one, but the thing is, I still don't have that good of a time against Umbreon right now. Like, this is where Kartana over Instant would have helped me out immensely. They do KO Grimm, so I missed out on an opportunity to set up Reflect there as well. I don't know, I was just really worried about Lunala setting up Trick Room. But I guess Groudon would have just quaked anyway, right? So that's Spirit Break. Well, I guess I could have Rockfall Yveltal. We can go into Kyogre at least. I mean, the thing is, do I go into Kyogre? I'm really worried about how I beat Groudon after this turn. So I think it's actually best to just go into Incin because this is the last turn of their Dynamax right now. Ooh, Charizard's the last one. Okay. That bodes very well for Kyogre right now. The thing is, they're going to get another special defense boost. But the other thing is, it's like, you're not AV Groudon, obviously, but you do have Light Screen, and you're getting special defense boosts. Last turn of Taunt, +1 defense. So they'll be at regular special defense. I think it's fine. I'm going to Parting Shot here into Groudon and then just Protect with Yveltal. Yeah. Because Scarf Kyogre Water Spout should clean up this game for us. I could have Dual Wing Beat into Charizard, actually. Why didn't I do that? Could have been Scarf, I guess. Oh, they actually Hurricane into Incin and miss. That's fine, though. Even if Incin fainted here, like, I was looking for a free switch into Kyogre, but now it means I actually survive, which is fine. Because now it's free switching into Scarf Ogre. But if this is, like, I don't know, Scarf Charizard's not that common. It's really rare, in fact. But if it's Scarf Charizard, I could actually lose this, which is really scary. But like I said, I didn't mind Hurricane hitting there, but I also question my decision to protect Yveltal there, because it's like, even if the Charizard protects, like, who cares, right? So, now we bring in Kyogre. Because if Charizard protects, Groudon quakes Incin, I Parting Shot, bring in Kyogre, we're in the same position, right? Yeah, so I don't know if I needed to play that loosely there. Taunt wears off, Dynamax ends, you are at neutral special defense, Light Screen is up, I have a speed boost on Yveltal, and I have Scarf Kyogre right now. So theoretically, all of that should add up to be good news for us. And you're at -1 attack. So, I'm okay clicking Water Spout here. Into, I think, just Dual Wing Beat into Charizard. We missed Dual Wing Beat. But I think Water Spout... actually, I didn't think about AV Charizard. I should have Sucker Punched. But never mind, we're good there. Even though I got the double KO there, I think Sucker Punch is objectively the better play, because I haven't seen an Assault Vest on my opponent's team yet, and I don't know if Charizard survives Water Spout even with Assault Vest, Light Screen, and a Special Defense boost, but I would expect it to. And so Dual Wing Beat was not the right play there. I think Sucker Punch always was. But I think both this game and the previous one shows how a well-played Scarf Kyogre can just easily win you the end game against Groudons, right? Because it's like, my opponent had Groudon on the field the entire time, but I knew as soon as I positioned Kyogre correctly, because they went for bulk up, it meant that they're most likely not very willing to switch out the Groudon. Then I win the Weather War, and we can really go from there. So I think if they brought Umbreon over Lunala, that actually would have been a more difficult match. And that was Umbreon was the Pokemon I was most worried about. So for it to not even come out, I'm really happy to see. Although, yeah, the great Reflect playing on turn 1 into Dynamax on Groudon on turn 2. I think even if Hurricane hit, yeah, it would still be just Kyogre Yveltal. Groudon would just be at neutral rather than -1, but Water Spout plus, like I said, I should have gone for Sucker Punch instead, I think. But either way, yeah, this Yveltal Kyogre combination is really nice, and I think super good into a lot of the meta teams right now, especially with like Lunala Groudon and Calyrex Shadow Rider Groudon being so common. So huge thank you to Toler for the team. Check them out, linked in the description below, as well as details for the team down there. Leave a like if you enjoy. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.